I wonder how she got that job. I see everyone on Instagram and I feel like I'm not doing enough. Why is my follower count so low? What do I have to do to be just like him? Hmm. A few weeks ago, I spoke about the disguised distractions of opportunity, comparison, and perfectionism. After doing so, I received feedback from so many who wanted more. So, we're going to take a deep dive into all three over the next few weeks. We're going to start with comparison today. Comparison is evaluating two or more things by looking at their characteristics and determining the degree to which they are similar or different. When is the last time you compared yourself to someone? I'm sure you can remember. It might have been today, it might have been yesterday, it might have been right before you logged on. We've all done it. The tendency to compare ourselves to others is as human as any other emotion. It's normal. It's as normal as happiness. It's as normal as sadness. Any other emotion. But why do we do it? Sometimes comparison is motivating and sometimes it's destructive. In most cases, we try to compare ourselves to those in our peer group or with those who we think we're similar to. We make all kinds of judgments about ourselves, and one of the key ways that we do this is through social comparison or analyzing the self, ourselves, in relation to others. We do it because we get a sense of validity or clarity by comparing ourselves against others we think are the benchmark, the standard. For example, you may compare yourself to a coworker who started at the same time, in the same position. If you find your abilities do not measure up to your peers' talents, you might use that as motivation to achieve more and improve your abilities. This is when comparison can be motivating. Leon Festinger, who is a social psychologist and also coined the term social comparison theory, basically said that we evaluate our opinions and abilities by comparing ourselves to other people to reduce our uncertainty. Am I doing this right? And also learn how to define ourselves. Who am I? There are two types of comparison, according to him: upward comparison and downward comparison. Upward comparison happens when we compare ourselves to others we believe are better than us, while downward comparison happens when we compare ourselves to others who we think we're better off than. So, for example, if you want to assess your skill as a runner, you might start by signing up to run a 5K with friends. Once you see your time compared to theirs and have a good understanding of what you're capable of, you might then begin comparing your performance to other people who you know. You might immediately think of a friend who regularly runs marathons. This is an example of upward social comparison. In comparison to him or her, your performance may not be nearly as skilled at first. You may feel discouraged by the gap between your ability levels, but you might also realize that you can eventually achieve a similar skill with little practice. In this case, the upward social comparison may make you more motivated to improve your abilities. You might then compare your abilities to a friend who has a 0.0K bumper sticker on the back window of their car. Usually we laugh at this, but in comparison, it probably means your performance is a little bit better. This is an example of downward social comparison. In this case, observing your friend's lack of running ability actually makes you feel better about your own abilities. We compare ourselves to those who are better when we want inspiration to improve. And we compare ourselves to those who are worse off when we want to feel better about ourselves. Social comparison not only plays a role in the judgments that we make about ourselves, but also in the way that we behave. As you compare yourself to others, consider how both upward and downward comparison might influence belief in yourself, confidence, motivation, and attitude, and watch out for negative feelings that emerge as a result of this process. Comparison has a cost, though. There's a cost. The first cost of comparison is that it damages our sense of self. Comparison is the thief of joy. You've probably heard that before. In fact, you've probably heard this quote a few times, but it's worth repeating. You can be anything, but you can't be everything. When we compare ourselves to others, we're often comparing their best features to our average ones. One author said it's like being right-handed and trying to play an instrument with your left hand. It's a recipe for unhappiness. Comparison diminishes your pride, dignity, drive, and your passion. And it increases your resentment towards others and towards yourself and adds no value or meaning to your life. Another cost of comparison is that it keeps us from getting to where we need to go. Comparison will hinder you from getting to where you need to go. It's okay to admire people who are performing at the top of their game, but using them as a measuring stick to gauge your weaknesses or faults is counterproductive to your growth. When we compare ourselves to others, we end up focusing our energy on bringing them down instead of raising ourselves up. We each get 86,400 seconds each day. And using even one to compare yourself or your accomplishments to another is 1 second too many. Comparison tricks us. It tricks us into thinking we can be someone else. You can't physically change who you are. You are you. You can't be someone else. You are you. You'll never be anyone else. And that's a good thing, because everyone has specific and special gifts and talents, and no one will use theirs quite the same way you do. Your gifts, talents, successes, and contributions and value are entirely unique to you and your purpose in this world. They can never be properly compared to anyone else. Comparison makes us believe that others also have a perfect life. But no one has a perfect life. Every single person on this earth experiences problems and challenges throughout their lives. So next time you compare yourself to a friend or neighbor, remember that you probably don't know every detail of their life. Nobody is perfect and nobody is living a painless life. Triumph requires an obstacle to be overcome, and everybody is suffering through their own, whether you are close enough to know it or not. Comparison also masks the reality that there will always be someone better. There will always be someone better than you at something. This last point might seem a little harsh. There will always be someone better than you at something, but it's reality. The habit can never be overcome by attaining success. There will also be something or someone else to focus on. So the sooner you accept it, the happier you'll be. But there's one thing that you're better at being than other people. You. That's you. The one thing that you'll always be better at being than other people. I want you guys to practice ways to stop comparing. And the perfect way to practice it is with Control It, Don't Let It Control You, the activity field guide for comparison. With this guide, you'll learn to be more intentional about unplugging, being grateful, letting love guide your choices, saying yes to every part of your life, and becoming your own measuring stick. So that means you've got practicing to do. Go to programs.intentionalactivities.com to get your practice curriculum. Programs.intentionalactivities.com for your practice curriculum. It's just that basic, you all. It's doing, it's choosing, it's intentional. I can't wait to see what your life looks like on the other side of comparison.